And so I used to get into a lot of, you know, altercations with people because people would always look at me like, oh, look at this guy trying to be hard. When in reality, I was dealing with this condition that I had no control over.
Mm.
And so even though it was like that little tough guy kind of walk, and my family thought it was cute, as I got older, other people didn't think it was cute. And so I had to fight through all of that nonsense, right? And so when I was 3, I got diagnosed with that. And that's when they, were saying, hey, he'll probably be in a wheelchair by 15 and he may not make it past his teenage years, kind of prepping my parents for the worst case scenario.
Before this episode begins, I wanted to let you guys know that the Started Somewhere apparel is officially live. In the description of this video, you'll see a link. It says Started Somewhere apparel. You can grab a hoodie, all colors, all sizes, t-shirts, long sleeves, and even coffee mugs. The hoodies are my favorite. They're super comfortable, true to size. They look good. They feel good. And if you do grab one, you'll be directly supporting me and you'll be supporting the show. So any money that I make from the apparel will go directly back into the show. And I'd really appreciate it if you do want to go that extra mile and show your appreciation for the content. You can do so by grabbing yourself a piece of clothing. Now, we're also live on Patreon. Okay, now I have plans here in the very near future to put exclusive content, exclusive only content on the Patreon. The Patreon is just $5 a month. It's also in the description. And if you do want to show your support and get access to that exclusive interview content, we have some amazing guests coming out in the near future. And I'm going to be recording some private segments exclusively for Patreon members. You can also subscribe and show your support that way. And the last thing, before we get into the episode, I've realized after looking over the analytics that we have a lot of people that watch these episodes. They tune in each and every single week, and they're not subscribed to the channel. Check down below right now. Are you subscribed? If you're not, please consider subscribing. It really helps us out. It helps me out. I have a goal of hitting 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. Can you help me do that? If you can, I'd really appreciate it. Drop a comment. Let me know if you did subscribe. Hit that like button. And of course, enjoy today's episode. Jose, welcome to the show, brother.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me, brother. I'm excited to rock and roll with you, man.
My man, Mindset Disruptor. I love the hat, bro.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah, for the YouTube
Original.
viewers, bro. They could see your hat. Mindset Disruptor. I love it, man. It's a pleasure to have you here on the show. How's your day going so far, man?
It's super exciting, bro. Super exciting, man. I just launched the Spanish version of my book, my first book, my second book actually. The English version just launched the Spanish version today, so I'm excited to see all those reviews and purchases go through, so I could get the bestseller in the Spanish category also.
Nice, man. Tell us about the book, man. What did you put together?
Yeah, man. The book is called "Don't Let Your Struggle Become Your Standard: How to Be Indispensable Even When the Odds Are Stacked Against You." And yeah, it's a great book, man. And I wrote the book because obviously the title says it all, man. We all go through struggles. And for your viewers, you can actually see, what kind of position I'm in. But for those that are listening, I'm in a wheelchair. And, we'll get into the story as we go along. But, that's the main reason why I wrote the book, is because I've been through my own set of struggles and challenges and adversities. And I know everyone else that's listening or watching has as well. And so I wrote the book to kind of give people a blueprint on how to develop that mental beast mentality and that mind, that mental toughness and resilience to be able to push through no matter what life throws your way.
That's awesome, bro. I love it, man. I hope to have my first book out this year. I'm pretty much like 90% done with it.
Awesome.
One of the biggest struggles for me, man, I kind of underestimated, the book writing process, is when you get so far down, I forget what I wrote like if I said it already in the beginning of the book. So I'm like, wait, am I just repeating myself? And I gotta go back and reread, and I'm like, man, you know,
Well, one of the things you can do with that is you can just you got a Mac or a PS or a
Mac,
PC?
Mac.
Mac. So with Mac, you just hit Command F, which brings up the find, whether you're in an Excel sheet or a Google Doc, and then you just type in the phrase or sentence that you thought you repeated, and it'll bring it
Ah,
up. If you did mention it, it'll bring it up in the document somehow.
that's a hack, bro.
That's a
I
little
never
hack right there
thought of
for you.
that. I like that. I like
Yeah,
that.
man.
Starting
You don't
off
want to spend.
strong with the golden nuggets, man.
Yeah, man. You don't want to spend too much time having to reread your work, man. Just hit the find button and just type in a word or phrase, and it'll
Mm,
pop up throughout the whole document if you said it or not.
boom. Absolutely, man. That's a great tip, bro. So, Jose, for listeners out there that aren't familiar with you and your work, would you mind to give us a brief overview of what you do?
Yeah, man. As you mentioned it earlier, man, mindset disruptor, global motivator, best-selling author, entrepreneur, contributor for Entrepreneur Magazine, and a couple of other large publications. But I'm all about personal development, self-development, personal development, and just kind of like building, man, building businesses, strategizing, consulting, coaching, everything that encompasses growth, right? Mental growth, business growth, personal growth. I'm all about that, and that's what I do. I have a 20-year corporate America background, so I speak to a lot of corporations now. They bring me in for coaching, workshops. Also, they do like annual conferences and summits, and they're looking for a speaker to come in and motivate the whole company. So they'll bring me in for that as well.
Mm.
And so that's what I do right now. And I write books. Like I said, I contribute. I have masterminds. I do a lot of things, man. That's why a lot of people look at me in the wheelchair, and you know how you said you underestimated the process. A lot of people look at me and underestimate me, but that's because they don't know they didn't see the process I had to go through to become the person I am today.
Mm. I dig that, bro. So you do a bunch of mindset stuff, right? You're the mindset guy.
Yeah,
When
mindset
somebody's feeling
disruptor.
down, they're feeling unmotivated, they feel like quitting, they need to call you.
When they call me, they need to read one of my books, sign up for one of my courses, get some coaching in. And it's not only the motivation, it's the discipline and the sacrifice and the dedication, the commitment, everything that goes along with that, right? Because I'm the motivator. I could come and motivate the heck out of you, but once I leave, the motivation goes with me.
Mm.
So it's up to you to continue that self motivation that's going to keep catapulting you to the next level that you want to reach in life, whatever that looks like.
That's it, brother. You gotta, motivation's tough, man, right? You do it one day, the next day it's gone. You gotta keep doing it, right? You have to keep motivating yourself every day.
It's like breathing, brother. It's like breathing. If you don't breathe, you die. If you don't self motivate yourself, if I think you might have seen it too. I've seen this quote that said, "You're not you're not incapable of doing anything. You're just uninspired."
Mm.
Right? So it's just a matter of the mindset, matter of perspective and perception. What is it that you really want out of life? What do you want to do? Do you want to be average? Do you want to settle? Do you want a mansion? Do you want to be successful? Do you want to own businesses? Do you want to just get married and have kids and live in an apartment? Like, there's so many different options, right? But the question is, what option do you want?
Mm.
Or are you just settling for where you are without even really wanting that?
And a lot of people do. A lot of people just, they settle for mediocrity because they either don't believe in themselves that they can do more, or they become just so comfortable in their day to day that they forget what they really want out of life.
And everything you just mentioned has to do with mindset. You said number one, they don't believe in themselves, and number two, they forget. That's all that's happening in the mind.
Mm.
All of that is happening in the mind. So that's why, in order for you to change anything in life, you got to change your mindset. You got to change the way you're thinking. You got to change your thought process. You got to change what you're feeding your brain, right? You know how they say that you are what you eat. And so our brain eats everything we feed it. So we have to be careful what we're feeding our minds, because at the end of the day, my favorite book says, as a man think, so he becomes. So whatever you're thinking eventually is going to become your reality. So if you're thinking negative, you have negative thoughts, you have negative talk, negative self-talk, you have a negative story in your mind that you're telling yourself because maybe you come from a broken home, or your parents are alcoholics or drug addicts, or they split up when you were young, or you were abused. Whatever the story you're telling yourself is, that's what's going to keep you stuck on that, right? So you got to be able to, and again, I'm not diminishing any trauma that anybody's been through, right? But at the end of the day, we have our own choices and decisions that we have to make. And if we want to change that, and we want that old story to look different, then we can start today writing a new one.
Powerful, bro. I saw something the other day on Instagram that said something along the lines of our words and thoughts have energy. And when you think negative things, and you think it's just a thought, but really it could be manifesting something up, brewing something up inside of you that you don't even realize at a subconscious level, that could be just giving you that negative mindset. So
Absolutely, 100%. And then not only that, it starts to really affect your body. When you look at people who are miserable, bitter, right? Like you heard it said, misery loves company. When you see people who are bitter, miserable, depressed, um, overwhelmed all the time, always looking at the cup half empty, that can actually cause physical ailments. Physical ailments. People can get sick, can start cause, different chemicals in your body. So it not only affects your mind, it affects your physical body.
it can, bro.
Yeah,
Absolutely, you're right. A lot of people don't know that, Jose. A lot of people don't realize that stress actually causes physical distress.
absolutely. They
Broken
say
heart
that
syndrome. Go ahead, go
yeah,
ahead.
exactly. They say that most people die on Monday mornings from heart attacks.
Oh shit.
Yeah, if you look at the statistics show that most people die
Damn.
from on Monday mornings from heart attacks, and it's because, like you said, that stress, that anxiety. Oh, I got to go back to a job that I hate working at. They say that 85% of Americans go to a job that they hate going to. That's almost everybody in America, bro. 85%, that's almost everybody. So you wonder why so many people are dying on Monday morning, is because they had the weekend, they chilling, they having a good time with their family and friends, and then Monday is back to the reality that they don't want to go back to. They don't. That's the reality that they don't want to be their reality, but they're forced to go back anyhow because they got to provide for themselves and their families. And so that stress, that anxiety, and then all the negative things start. You start, oh man, I got to get out of bed again. You start dragging your feet. You're dreading going to work, and it's only Monday. You got 5 days of that. And so you continue to do that over and over and over. Your body can only take so much of that stress level.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So, Jose, let's go back in time, right? This is a Started Somewhere show. I'm sure that, well, I don't want to make this assumption, but I'm sure that when you were younger, right, you didn't always want to be the mindset guru, mindset disruptor, inspiring people and coaching big companies. I might be wrong here, but talk to us about your upbringing.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely wasn't the mindset disruptor when I was younger, bro. Definitely not. And to be honest with you, I never thought in a million years I'd be doing what I'm doing today and be where I am today. Never in a million years, man. So growing up in the Bronx, New York, you already know that's like concrete jungle. It's difficult environment, and you know there are no motivators out there. There's no mentors. I mean, there probably are, right? But for the most part, you don't see a lot of coaches and mentors uh, helping out the youth in the inner cities. There are a few, right? I don't want to just completely say there was nobody, because there were a few, but I didn't have any. There was no millionaires in my neighborhood. There was no millionaires that anyone in my neighborhood knew, that my family knew. Like, we didn't even know. I mean, we just saw that on TV or heard about it. So it was like, that was a far, far, far reach for any of us in New York,
Mm.
right? And so on top of that, I was born with a neuromuscular condition called spinal muscular atrophy. And what that does is, the older I get, the weaker my muscles get. So The doctor said that by the age of 15, I'd end up in a wheelchair, and they weren't even expecting me to live past my teenage years. But the good news is that this year in February on the 25th, I just celebrated my 43rd birthday. So that's way more than half of what they prescribed me from the beginning, right? And I think that a lot of it, well, all of it. I'm a man of faith, so I know that God has a purpose and a reason for me being here. But apart from that, I always I never really accepted that when I was younger. They said it, but I was able to walk and run like normal, healthy young boys do. So I never really tried to think about it too much. It was in the back of my mind, but way back in my mind. And then in high school was when I really started to feel the shifting in my body, and that's when things really started to go downhill for me, physically wise. And that was a tough time, man. In high school, that's when you're trying to figure out who you are, right? Who you are, who you fit in with, who you want to be around, what type of things you're going to be doing after high school. And so for me, I wasn't thinking about a career. I wasn't thinking about college. I was just thinking about surviving this condition that I was born with. And it was tough because my mindset was one that said, you'll never do anything great. You'll never do anything of significance. You'll never leave a legacy. You'll never make a difference. You'll never make an impact. Nobody's going to care about who you are or what you have to say. And so that was the story, right? That was the narrative that I was telling myself for so many years. And then I moved from the Bronx, New York to Florida, where I currently reside. And when I was 22, I lost my ability to walk when I was 22. So I just moved to Florida from New York. A couple months later, I lose my ability to walk. And I'm excited when I moved down. I'm like, man, new environment, new surroundings, new people, new opportunities, and excited to go after life. And then literally, bro, from one day to the next, I fell at my mom's house because at that point, my legs used to kind of give out on me, my muscles, so I would just collapse. And I fell and I broke the toes in my right foot. And for the next 3 months, I couldn't walk. And so you know how they say, if you don't use it, you
Lose it.
you lose it. And so after 3 months and my toes healed up, I tried to stand up. My leg kept buckling. My leg kept on buckling. So at that point, I could no longer, not even with a walker, because that would be even more dangerous. Because when I fall, I can't break the fall. I can't catch myself. So if I was with a walker and I fall, I could break my neck. I hit my throat on something or whatever. So I wound up using a scooter, like the little motorized scooters you see at Walmart, but I had a cool one. And because I was in denial, man, I wasn't ready to accept life in a wheelchair. And just going through that process, man, and just eventually I got a job because I just got sick and tired of living off of disability checks. I was like, man, who can live off of measly $850 a month? This is horrible. So I went and got a job in corporate America, and I stayed there for 10 years, and I worked my way from the bottom up from entry level all the way up to manager to supervisor. And then I stayed there for 10 years. Then I got another corporate gig that offered me more money, and I was there for another 8-9 years. And then in 2018, that's when I started my entrepreneurial journey, man. Just 2.5 years ago, full time. I've been speaking professionally for 5 years, but I just started the full-time entrepreneurial journey 2.5 years ago. And I never looked back, man. And I grind every day. I hustle every day. But that's where it started somewhere happen, man. It started with me getting sick and tired of being sick and tired, brother, and wanting more out of life and wanting more for myself and for my family,
Absolutely, man. So, Jose, I got a bunch of follow-up questions here to digest everything that you just shared with us, man. Which, by the way, man, thank you so much for opening up and sharing, with us that upcoming that you had. First off, coming from the Bronx, man, I've been to the Bronx many times, bro. The Bronx is like no place on this planet, bro. It's like that's just a different type of city, man. Holy smokes. I personally dislike the Bronx, bro. It's just too much. It's too much for me. Like, when you're coming from Westchester to Manhattan and you're going through the Bronx and you pass Yankee Stadium on 87 and it's just too much, bro. So for you to live there and grow up there, man, It's just, you develop thick skin. You
Yeah,
know,
brother. I was
I
just talking to somebody else about that too. They was like, "Yeah, man, if you grew up from the Bronx, you got that thick skin built inside of you."
dude.
And I think that, just that upbringing alone, before my condition really started kicking in, even though I was born with it, when I was young, I was still able to run and do the things like I said. But as I got older, I felt the changes in my body, even though I wouldn't share that with anybody. I would feel it. But just growing up in the Bronx, you grow up with a certain level of like toughness. Like you either have to get tough or they're gonna come and get you. You know what I
Bro,
mean? So
Jose, I gotta share this with you, bro. So I'm leaving the club in Manhattan, going back to Westchester, right? And they're doing traffic, or they're doing construction. So there's a bunch of traffic and there's a detour. So I'm with one of my buddies, right? And we get off to take this detour, right? And it's on Jerome Avenue. Okay? I kid you not. We get off on that ramp and pull onto Jerome. Within 30 seconds, I witnessed a drag race, I think a possible shootout, a drug deal, like 3 people begging for money at my window. My heart was racing. I locked the door, windows up, and could not. I was praying, please, please get back on the highway. And I'm just like, oh, you know what I'm talking about too.
absolutely, man.
So,
Absolutely.
man, that's a crazy place, man. But
It is, man.
Jose, I'm curious, man. So you're diagnosed with this condition, right, at birth. How did they know that you had this? Can you say it one more time for me? Spinal atrophy? Is it spinal
Yes,
atrophy?
it's called spinal muscular atrophy.
Okay. How did they
Yeah,
know that you had this condition?
it's called SMA for sure. SMA for sure. And so when I was born, they didn't know I had it. So what happened was I was diagnosed when I was 3 years old, and that's because, when I started walking at an early age. At 8 months old, I was already walking. I was an active kid. And then as you start, you're walking, you're kind of wobbling and everything like that, and then you start to straighten out a little bit more as you get older. So I started straightening out a little bit more, but I still had like this little limp in my walk. And everybody, my mom and everybody, or the family, they was like, "Oh, look at him, he looks so cute. He walks like a little tough guy." So, and that's the kind of walk that I had going all the way into high school. And so I used to get into a lot of, you know, altercations with people because people would always look at me like, "Oh, look at this guy trying to be hard," when in reality I was dealing with this condition that I had no control over. And so even though it was like that little tough guy kind of walk, and my family thought it was cute, as I got older, other people didn't think it was cute. And so I had to fight through all of that nonsense, right? And so when I was 3, I got diagnosed with that. And that's when they, were saying, "Hey, he'll probably be in a wheelchair by 15 and he may not make it past his teenage years," kind of prepping my parents for the worst case scenario. And then come to find out later on, a little later on, that what they had originally diagnosed me with was was a more severe form of what I have. So what I have, SMA, there's 4 types: one, two, three, and 4. So types 1 and 2 are deathly, right? You can die from the type 1 or 2, and then type 3 and 4, it doesn't affect your lifespan because it doesn't attack your vital organs. And so I have type 3, which is you get it at adolescent, which is why I said I got it in high school. And then type 4, those people don't usually, they're born with it. All of this is from birth, but it doesn't show in your life until type 4 doesn't show until you're like an adult, like in your mid to late 20s, sometimes even early 30s. So for me, it was adolescent. It was at my late teen, so it's like 16, 17 around there where it really started to show itself.
Right.
And so yeah, that's how that diagnosis happened, and they found out what I had because my mom saw the walk. So she said she noticed the little tough guy walk wasn't going away. So she took me to the doctor, and they did a muscle biopsy on me, and then that's how they determined that I had the muscular dystrophy or spinal muscular
Wow. And,
atrophy.
and and I'm assuming that they had to cut you open to do that biopsy. Is that right?
Yeah, they made a small incision on my right thigh, on the top part, and then a small incision in my right calf muscle. And they took a piece of muscle out in both areas, and then they, put it under the microscope and figured out that that's what I had.
So at 22 years old, you said, when you had just moved out and you were walking fine, like all through high school, everything is all good, all chilling.
Well, I was still walking, but that's when it
You
started
had
getting,
the
yeah,
you felt some changes, but you were still able to walk. And then
yeah,
22, you're in Florida, you're excited, and then you take a fall, and then pretty much you haven't been able to walk since.
that's right.
Wow, man. Yeah. Holy smokes, bro.
Yeah.
That's tough, man. Does this condition cause you any pain?
No, thank God I'm not in any pain, bro. And I'm telling you, I thank God that I'm not in any pain, because if I was, it would probably be, I don't know what the heck, right? I mean, you don't know. And that's just one of the things. Like, I can still feel everything, I can move everything, but I thank God that I'm in zero pain, brother. Zero pain. The only discomfort I feel sometimes is like, since I'm sitting all day in the chair, my blood goes and it just kind of sits in my ankles. So my ankles get a little swollen sometimes. And then, South Florida, the heat, that doesn't help. That swells them up too. And so that's the only discomfort I feel sometimes. Like, how you feel like that pulse sometimes? I could feel a pulse in my ankles. And they don't hurt really per se. They just feel like, I can't even describe the feeling, but it's not a pain, but it's not comfortable either. It's a little discomfort, right? And so, with this wheelchair, I'm able to elevate my feet. I can throw, it has a joystick, and it's a cool wheelchair, right? They hooked me up with it, but I can elevate my feet. I could tilt back and let my blood circulation come back to my heart and things like that. And then I have a special bed too that has the remote that can lift up my head and the feet as well, so I can elevate in the bed while I'm laying down as well. Um, so that's pretty much it, man. Yeah. Other than that, I'm in zero pain, brother.
Good,
I don't
bro.
get headaches, nothing, bro.
No, that's definitely great to hear, bro.
And yeah, that's right, brother. But I chose to play him anyhow, man. I chose to play him
That's it,
anyhow, and,
bro.
and go all in with it. And yeah, I'm winning, man. A little by little,
That's
I'm
it,
winning,
bro.
man. I'm getting some wins here and there, and some of them are small, some of them are big. But I'm gonna keep pushing, man, because I know that I know what the possibilities are, and I know that there's possibilities out there. So as long as I keep, reaching for those possibilities, those wins are going to keep coming in, and they're going to keep getting bigger and bigger. And that's what the whole entrepreneurial journey is all about, right? It's like building and creating and sustaining and sacrificing and sticking with it and going all in. And I've learned how to do that, and I'm still learning, right? There's things that I don't know, and you don't know what you don't know, but as long as you're coachable and you have a willingness to understand and learn and gather that information and then apply it, which is the main key there, is applying the information, right? Because you hear people say knowledge is the new currency, knowledge is power, and it really isn't unless you're applying it. So you have to apply what you're learning. That's why I read books. That's why I'm watching YouTube videos. I Google stuff. I look for information. I go to seminars. I follow other successful people that are killing it, and I study what they're doing, and then I just pretty much model what they're doing, and I put my own flavor on it, my own sauce, and I put it in the bowl, pot, mix it up, and then I serve it.
That's it, bro. So, Jose, man, so many people, right? Like all around the world, go through life day by day, and they're just ungrateful. They're pissed off. They take things for granted. They're not living the life that they want to live. They turn little minuscule things into these huge deals when they're really not, right? And they're just not living a fulfilled life. How does that person change their situation, right? How? Because it's not just like it's not just like a light switch, right? You got to take a serious course of action here.
Yeah.
What are they supposed to do?
Well, man, it just goes back to what I said earlier, man. It's you got to make up your mind on what you really want, because the reality is, man, you talk to a lot of inner city uh, kids, for example, right? And they portray this type of lifestyle that they've lived, and maybe they have lived it, right? Maybe they did live a tough life, but bro, everybody, no matter where they're from, no matter whether they come from the suburbs or they come from the urban inner city. Everybody, man, deep down inside has a certain level of wants, needs, and desires, right? We like to call them dreams, right? People have dreams. And if you ask somebody, would you like to live here or would you like to live over there? Right. And that over there is better, obviously, than where they are now. Nobody in their right mind is going to say, no, I want to stay right here, when they know over there is better. If somebody will say, hey, I want to take you out the hood and bring you, and there's a small percentage of those that's like, I'm never leaving the hood. I'm staying in the hood. And again, that's just a mindset. That mindset has been built inside of them for generations. It's a generational thing. Their parents believe that. And my parent, my grandmother, bro, she, God bless her soul, she died at 96 years old, living in the Bronx, still walking back and forth to the store, walking to the supermarket, to her church. She was just one of those old school people. Like, this is where I live. This is where I'm going to die. I'm not going anywhere. And my mom was like, they wanted to move her down to Florida. And she was like, no, I'm good here. I'm comfortable, But that's the thing, man. People will settle in their comfortness, even though that comfortness is not the ideal situation for them, or the ideal place that they want to be. But it's because of the training and the programming that they've been forced to deal with. We've all been programmed, brother. We've all been programmed from birth, right? That programming sounds like this: you go to high school, you graduate; you go to college, you graduate; you get a job with that degree for 20 years, and then you retire, and hopefully you get to live long enough to spend that 401k pension money that you've gathered from that 20 years. Right? 9 times out of 10, the statistics show that people die within the first 3 years of their retirement, and don't even get to spend all the money or the time that they wanted to doing what they're doing after they finish breaking their backs for all those years. And that's the programming that we've all been programmed with. Now, recently, that programming has shifted. So you see a lot of new millennials, you see a lot more entrepreneurs, a lot more startups, a lot more people saying, hey, you know what, I'm going to create my own economy and I'm going to go after the type of life that I want to live. I don't care if my parents paid $100,000, $150,000 for me to go to college. I'll drop out of college and do my own thing, and they'll become very successful. But it's because they've chosen, right? We all goes back to choices and decisions and our mindsets that says, I don't want to waste 4 years of my life doing this when I can spend 4 years of my life doing this, work for myself, and make way more money than what I would have made had I stayed in college for 4 years. It happens every single day. We see it all the time. You have kids that are doing toy reviews on YouTube, making $15 million a year at 10 years old.
That's a fact, bro. It's a different world today, man.
It is, bro.
The digital revolution, man.
Absolutely, man. So, life is all about our choices and decisions. I read something the other day that said that, you can be born into poverty, but staying there is your own choice. Again, it's all mindset, bro. Like, do you want to get out? Do you want to have more? Do you want to be more? Do you want to become more? Do you want to learn more? Then you got to go and get it. If not, you just stay here and settle for what you get, and that's it. You don't complain.
So I agree with that statement most of the way. I will say that in my opinion, just from what I've seen and what I've researched, that there's people that live in some fucked up countries that they just can't even get out, bro. They can't. Like, they just stuck, And it's fucked up. Because even if their mindset is right, like, let's take a look at some third world countries, right? I work with a lot of people in Philippines, and they just got, like, people don't realize how lucky they are to live in the United States sometimes, I feel. Like, I just feel like people just take it for granted, right? Yeah, the country's not perfect, but I could introduce you to a few people that would do anything to be in your shoes. You know what I mean? Absolutely. So I agree with you 100% that, even if you're not, I wasn't born rich. I'm sure you weren't born rich, but we're able to take control of our lives and, change our mindset and, do different things to better ourselves. But But some people, man, when I'm curious to know your thoughts on this, that live in third world countries, that even if they have the right mindset, they can't just go down to a public library and get on a computer and start their first business. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I agree with you too, to a certain extent with that also, because there are certain remote places in the world where there's not a lot of access to resources, right? And so my statement was more so for here in the US and even like in Europe and, more modern developed societies. But you go to those third world countries like in the Amazon jungles of Peru, and those people, they don't know nothing but jungle. And that's, again, it's a programming. If you take that person out of there and you put them into a civilization, right, like a normal modern day civilization, they're not going to know what the heck is what, but they'll learn. And then they'll be thinking like, oh snap, this is all available out here. We didn't know about that back at the camp or back at the tribe or back in the village, right? So I mean, there are certain situations where people can't get out per se. Maybe I don't believe in the word can't, because even those from what I've heard, some of those tribal people in certain areas of like Peru and where the Amazon jungle is, they know that there's a whole nother different type of, it's like the Amish people, right? In Pennsylvania, the Amish people, they know they have their own set of rules though, but they know that there's a whole nother world outside of what their belief system is. Now, we could say that they can't get out, but they can if they wanted to, right? They can go out of their community and figure out what it is. And I think that in certain, like you look at Africa and you see these kids that are, in villages, but they're over there inventing like all these different type of things that are helpful for their community, for their villages, right? So I think that, I just think it's on an individual basis, maybe because I just firmly believe, man, that if you really want something, bro, where there's a will, there's a way, man, and you can figure something out. I know a guy. I know a guy who's from. I personally know a guy who was born and raised in a village in Nigeria. In a village, I'm talking about cow dung huts, right? Huts made of cow dung, and my man lives in England now, and he's a pastor of a very successful church. He's been to college, has his degrees and all of that. I mean, so you look at somebody like that, right? Who was in a village, all he knew was village lifestyle, animals, killed the animals like earlier in the years. But my man was like, there's more. I know there's more out there. I've heard the stories, I've seen, maybe back in the day that would have been valid, right? But in today's society with cell phones and internet and people traveling all over the place and people seeing and stories and all of that, I think there's a little more availability to possibilities that people can take advantage of. But again, I think that the programming keeps a lot of people stuck also. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, man. It comes down to persistence, bro. Right? Have you seen that movie, The Founder? That Ray Kroc, that McDonald's movie about Ray Kroc and how he.
Oh no! I didn't see that movie.
Oh, bro, dude, watch that movie, please. It's on Netflix. It's on Netflix. Okay. Yeah. That movie dude, that movie will light a fire under your ass, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's Michael Keaton. He plays Ray Kroc, and the guy that is known to be the creator of McDonald's, even though he didn't start McDonald's, he basically did a hostile takeover and grew the company to what it is today. But man, in that movie, he talks about persistence. Like, this guy never stopped, and he did this in his 50s. Like, some people think that it's too late for them. This guy did it at 50-something years old.
Oh, wow.
He was selling milkshake machines, for a living, making nothing. And
man, those milkshake machines are always broken in McDonald's now.
Yeah, bro, they always broken. I used to work there, man. Dude, a lot of people don't know this, but not to gross you out or anything, but those milkshake machines, when you lift the top off of them to pour in the mix, it smells worse than a garbage pile. I'm not even joking. Like, if people smelt that, they wouldn't drink those milkshakes, bro. I'm telling you, bro. It's gross, dude. It's disgusting. Yeah, man. But Yeah, you're absolutely right, man. Bottom line, it comes down to mindset. For the listeners out there, if your mindset's not right, your money's not gonna be right. That's just how it is, man. You
That's right.
gotta get your mind right. So I definitely agree with you on that one, man. So I wanna go back to your come up story, man. So you said that you entered into corporate America and you started at the bottom, right? Entry level. What was that gig, man? What were you doing in corporate America?
Yeah, so I worked for a timeshare company, and I started at customer service. Then I moved from customer service to sales. Then I moved from sales to retention, and then I moved from retention to supervisor, and then supervisor to manager. And so, like in a 10-year period, I worked several different departments and built relationships with so many individuals. And it was fun, man. That's actually where I met my wife, man. And I didn't even talk about my wife. My main dream, man. I wanted the big house. I wanted to be successful. I wanted the cars and all of that. But my main dream was wondering if a woman was ever gonna love me like this, bro. Because I felt like damaged goods. I was like, man, God, you got it wrong with me. You need to do me over. I need a do over. And that was like my main dream, brother. Like wondering if a woman was ever going to rock with me, and really love me for the person that I am. And through the grace of God, brother, my wife and I, we met at that timeshare company. We were co-workers. We turned into friends, and then we started dating. And that was 20 years ago, man. And she met me in a wheelchair. And we just celebrated our 13th year of marriage last in July. We got married on 7/7/7. And so we just celebrated 13 years of marriage. We have two beautiful, amazing young men, right? They're men now, but boys. We have two children, and they're healthy. They help out, And so that's where I met my wife, was in that company, the timeshare company. And then uh, when I left that company, I went to another electric company, which is a company, they sell electricity. So you live in Jersey, so you have PSE&G,
Mm-hmm.
and you have PSE&G. There's a few of
Yeah,
them in New Jersey. I can't remember them off top, but
yeah. I use PSC and G. That's all I know. And then,
yeah,
of course, there's Con Ed and then Origin Rockland.
yeah, exactly. So New Jersey, New York, a lot of the northern eastern states are deregulated states. So they have a couple of different companies that you can use. And so the company I worked for, they would sell electricity uh, to houses and businesses, and then that electricity that they would sell to the third party would get ran through Con Edison's power lines, for example. So Con Edison, they would give Con Edison a cut, and
Mm.
then but they would still give. It's competitive, right? So you're working with pennies, but when at the end of the month, those pennies add up. So you're trying to find whoever can give you the electric at a good rate. But anyhow, worked there for 7 years, and then that's when in January of 2018, that company laid me off after 7 years of giving them my life.
Why'd they lay you off?
They were just doing cuts. They laid off about 17 or 20 people, something like that. And I was one of the people that they decided to let go. So they gave me a little severance package. And but I was kind of excited, to be honest with you, because my goal was to quit that job at the end of 2018, because I was already making money as a speaker and selling my books. But I wanted to kind of like uh, get the best of both worlds. Like that would have kept
Mm.
fueling me, and I would have really been able to get ahead with that. But guy had a different plan, and they laid me off, and I could have either gotten another job in corporate America anywhere, because I have extensive experience and knowledge. Um, but I said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go all in with this entrepreneurial thing, because I believe in myself, and I'm going to try to create my own economy. And I said, I'm never going to, as long as I possibly can, I'm never going to put my life in somebody else's hand to where they can say, bye bye, we don't need you anymore.
Mm. That's the tough part about working for someone else, man. You know, being replaced at the drop of a dime, right?
Top of a dime, brother. It was a phone call like, hey, sorry to tell you,
That's
we don't
it.
need you anymore.
Dude, I used to deliver pizza, and like I got fired at one job, and I stopped by the next day just to I think I had to see some whatever. There was someone else already. Like dime a dozen, man. You know,
Yeah,
working in restaurants, dude. If one cook gets fired, they just another one comes in the same day.
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know, I mean, security in the workplace. I don't know, man. It's
There is none.
there it really, yeah, essentially there is none. You can just
There
be
is none.
let go. You know, and now with coronavirus, there's layoffs. I mean, it's crazy. MGM is laying off thousands of people. The airlines are laying off thousands of
Yeah, I
people.
saw that.
I mean, it's crazy, man. But you know, when you're in your own business and you're your own boss, you get to dictate the terms. I mean, you're not going to fire yourself, right? But it's a different beast,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
It's a different beast because in the entrepreneurial space, you only eat what you kill,
That's
right?
right.
You don't work, you don't eat. So it's tough, man. You
It
know,
is.
I'm curious, Jose. Working in corporate America for you said what 20 or so years?
20 years, yeah.
20 years. What was your favorite part about working? You know in that type of environment.
Yeah, well, like I said, I'm a personable person. I'm social, so dealing with our clients, building relationships with our clients, and then also building relationship with my coworkers. Man, I have friends that I'm still friends with today that we started working at that timeshare company years ago,
Mm.
and we're still friends today, man. And I really cherish those relationships, and then again, just building the relationship with the customers and making money, man. I made pretty decent money, because in sales you can make some decent money. I was getting an hourly plus commission, so I was making some very decent money. And sales is all about the talk, man. Because if the product sells itself, then that's even easier for you to make money. So just talking to people and just explaining the product and the services and making that money. And corporate America allowed me to pay my marriage in full, man. My whole marriage, my whole wedding. I mean, we paid
Mm.
it in full. The rings, the cruise, the venue, everything was paid in cash in full
And I know
before we
that's
got.
expensive, right?
Yeah, brother.
That's
Yeah, man.
expensive, man.
I
Weddings.
know ours was almost 20 grand, so, and I paid that off cash off of the commission checks that I was getting. So I'm not mad at corporate America. They helped me out for many years, but once that last one happened, man, and they just dropped me like a bad habit. And the thing is that I'm bilingual. I was a great employee, top performer. It definitely took me by surprise, because I was like, oh wow, I thought I was one of the good ones,
Mm.
but apparently they had to make their decision, and they made it. And there's no hard feelings on, they made it, and it is what it is. And I'm just glad, because that just actually it pushed me
Of
into doing what
course.
I was going to do anyhow, just a lot sooner. And I'm glad that happened, man, because that actually you wake up every morning, you wake up, you go to a job, whether you like it or not, that you're getting that check every week or every 2 weeks. As an entrepreneur, you have to create your economy. You have to create, that cash flow, like your hat says, man. You got to create that cash flow to be able to come in on a consistent basis, so that you can provide and pay for your things. And so I'm a firm believer, though, man. You got to work. You got to pay for the dream until the dream can pay for itself,
Mm.
right? So that's why I was working both jobs. I was working corporate America, come home, work my dream job until and then when they laid me off, I wasn't quite there yet, generating this, because I wanted to be able to make the same amount of salary I was making with them before I quit. But I was like, you know what? I didn't make that first salary there that first year, but the second year I made way more than what I was making at that position in corporate America. That second year, I made more than that.
Mm.
And then now I'm in my, this is like 2.5 years. I'm in my third year now. And the corona has been tough, but I'm still rocking and rolling, brother. I just created a digital course, and that's selling good. I have my book, the English version, that's been selling good. I just made that book, actually. Les Brown, you know who Les Brown is, right? So
Mm-hmm.
Les Brown wrote the forward to that book that I just have out right now. And that book just made USA Today, Yahoo Finance, and Forbes top 20 books to read this summer in 2020.
My
So
man.
yeah, man.
That's
So
awesome, bro. Good shit, man. Good shit.
Yeah, brother. So I'm
So,
super excited about that. And then now I just converted that into Spanish, and that's gonna hit a whole nother market, demographic. So I'm still shaking and baking, baby.
that's it,
This
brother.
corona ain't gonna hold me down.
So, let me ask you this, Jose. When you made the transition from getting laid off to starting your business, which requires websites and doing webinars and writing and podcasting and all these different skill sets, right? Did you take courses? Did you learn on your own? Did you hire an agency to help put everything together? What did that look like for you?
Yeah, for me, since I had gotten laid off and I wasn't really in a position to go out and buy these courses or hire a coach, man, I got in the trenches, man. I was doing staying up till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning watching YouTube videos on how to start an LLC, which one is better, an LLC or S corp, and figuring out which one was my best fit. Watching videos, reading articles, and then as far as the website is concerned, I had somebody help me develop a very basic website, but obviously it wasn't to where I wanted it to be. But it was still enough for me to be able to do what I needed to do, at least point somebody to a website. And then I eventually, when I started getting some good gigs, I remember, man, when I got my first $10,000 gig, I was like, whoa, baby, this thing is happening, boy. And I wound up at that point, that's when I wound up hiring, Eric Thomas, right?
Yes.
So I wound up hiring Eric Thomas's web team, and they built my current website that I have now. Marshall Fox, shout out to Marshall. He did a great job with my website. And so I was able to invest a couple dollars with them. And then, just little by little, man, and then I started I'm a student of life, man. I'm a lifelong learner. So I just, like I said, started following people who are successful in doing what it is that I wanted to do. And literally just, they were giving out free information, brother, free information, how to do this, how to do that. And I would take everything that applied to me and my business and my niche and just apply it, bro. And when I'm telling you, man, you don't have to have a lot of resources, brother. You just have to be resourceful. And if you can use your mind and you have a phone with an internet, or you have a phone that's connected to a service provider, but you know how many times people, bro, would ask me a question and I'm like, you got a cell phone? Like, you have a cell phone, you're connected to the internet, you have Google and YouTube right in your pocket, and they're too lazy to even do that, brother. Like,
It's
oh,
that
I'll do
free
a little.
university, right?
Exactly,
Anything
man.
you
And
want to know is on there.
yeah, so that's what I did, man. And then meeting some people and asking questions, and getting around the right environment, the right group of people that are like killing it in the space that I'm in, and just again, just not being afraid to ask questions, not being afraid to get advice, not being afraid to be coachable, and not being afraid to get that constructive feedback and criticism, and then pivot when you need to pivot, apply what you need to apply, and keep moving forward. And that's what I did, man. And little by little, man, slow and steady wins the race, man. And that's the story of my entrepreneurial journey so far in the last 2.5 years. It's been slow and steady, but man, I've been picking up some great momentum because I've been following a lot of people and getting the information and then applying it to my business and getting results.
I dig it, bro. Now,
Yeah,
Jose, do you work from home? Like,
yeah, yeah.
the
Right
office
now,
out of the house?
yeah, this is my home office. Yeah, yep.
Okay.
And then once before Corona, obviously I was traveling doing my thing, but now everything is virtual. So I'm still doing virtual gigs for corporations. I speak for city officials virtually. Their meetings. It's great, man. I mean, I actually like it because I get to do it from the comfort of my own home and still make a decent living. Obviously, I like traveling and being around people, which I can't wait to get back to.
I
But yeah,
know.
right now I'm at home.
So, leaving corporate America and transitioning into the entrepreneurial space, right? You lose the social aspect of a workplace environment, right? Is one thing I had a tough time going through was working in the restaurant where I'm around people. I see people every day. I get to, bullshit with people at work. And then when you're on your own, gets kind of lonely sometimes, man. You know, like you lose that social ability to just talk to people and whatnot. Hey, did you ever have to struggle? Did you struggle with that at all, or it didn't bother you?
Nah, it didn't affect it. It didn't. I mean, it didn't really affect me much. What affected me was the ability not to go out at all, right? When everything was on lockdown, you couldn't even go to the movie theater, you couldn't go to a restaurant, you couldn't do anything. You couldn't go to the park, the beach, everything was closed. So at that point, I was going a little crazy. So I would go around my block, I would go across the street. There's like a little lake with a park over there. So I'd go walking around over there just to get out and get some fresh air. But yeah, man, that people aspect, man, is tough. And my wife, we work together. We run the company together. So we work from home. So me and her, and we have a great relationship. We're not like that couple that, is always at each other's throats. We have fun, we laugh, we play, but we do business together too, and we handle our business. And so we keep each other great company. She's funny, I'm funny. We get each other's jokes. You know what I mean? So we
Yeah.
have a great time, just her and I. But again, even outside of that, she needs her girlfriend time. She misses it. I miss my hanging with my boys and my dudes and doing our thing, and we need that, right? And we know that this is just for a season, because in a little bit this thing will pass and it'll be over and everything will get back to somewhat normality. But yeah, it didn't really affect me, man. It affected my wife a little bit, because she needs to get out too, so it
Mm.
affected her a little bit. But again, we push through, man. We don't let our struggles become our standard, man.
Bro, this is gonna sound really weird, man. Really, really weird. I'm sure. I don't know if anyone's ever told you this, but has anyone ever told you that you got this like John Leguizamo vibe?
Nah,
Nah.
you know what I used to get? I used to get that I look like Ralph Macchio from Karate Kid.
Bro, I don't know, for some reason, bro, you remind me of like a movie star. Like, I don't know if it's the way you talk or what. You got that vibe, man. Like, you could just you got the Bronx accent, bro. It's I love
Hey
it,
man,
man.
if you got any of your listeners that are listening or watching and you looking to fill some roles, man, I can play a character, man. I'll tell you.
Bro, you play like the like a New York, like a mafia gangster movie or something, bro. You got that vibe, man. It's I love it, bro. Uh I got a few more questions before you wrap up, bro. Number one, man, if you could go back in time, bro, snap the fingers, you're back in time to any point in your life where you would change one thing, right? One thing that you did, you can change it and do it differently. What would that be?
Man, I would have started earlier looking into, like, I would have tried to have a higher level of awareness of what life is really about. Because when you're young, man, and you're growing up in the city, you shaking and baking, you're moving around, things are happening so fast that you miss a lot of things, man. You miss, like, things are happening so super quick that you miss a lot of things. So I would have just liked to have a more level of awareness and just change, just some of the decisions I made as far as like letting life happen to me. You know what I mean? I let a lot of life happen to me. And again, it wasn't until I understood that this was happening for me and developing my character, developing the type of individual that I am today. But I would have just made some wiser decisions, man, as far as like learning more. Because I always thought, remember, I wasn't thinking about the future. I wasn't thinking about a career or college, because I was just in survival mode. I was just trying to survive this condition. But I wish I would have really just spent some extra time learning a lot of things earlier and paying attention to some of the wisdom that was around me. And because there wasn't, like, don't get me wrong, the Bronx is tough, but it's not just full of a bunch of complete uneducated individuals. There's some very highly educated individuals. And again, but it's like they say you are who you hang out with. So if you're hanging out with the street guys and you're hanging out with the dudes that's on the corner that's really doing nothing with themselves, then you're not going to do nothing with yourself. But if you're looking at the people who are going to work and going to job, and they're driving the nice cars and they're doing things the legit way, and you say, hey, you know what, man, can I ask you some questions? What do you do? I wish I would have did a lot more of that, brother. Because there was a couple of, and it's funny where I lived on Rosedale and Lafayette in the Bronx, South Bronx in the Soundview area. right? And but I'm telling you, it was a single family community block, one block, bro. And on the left side, on the right side, in the back and in the front, there was projects. So it was crazy, bro. It was like single family homes, project, 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 project. So it was like hood all around us. And we lived in this on this one block. There was a working family community because my dad owned a glass company. And there was several other people that lived on that block that had nice cars, that worked good jobs, but I didn't care about that. I was just trying to go have fun and wild out, but I just wished I would have paid more attention to that type of stuff, man.
Of course, bro. Who's your favorite rapper out of the Bronx, man? I gotta ask you.
Man, Big Pun, bro, hands down.
Big Pun.
But I also,
He spits
they say
flames.
that, yeah, man, they say that Yonkers is like the fifth borough. So, Big Pun, Jadakiss, Nas, Jay Z, those are my top five.
I love it, bro. So let's bring it back to current day, right? What are we? I don't even know what day. Tuesday. Oh man, first of the month, September 1st, brother. Fall is coming. Well, not for you down there in Florida, but
It feels like the beginning of summer.
there you go. So what's going on, man? Like, what are you currently? I know we talked about the book, but what should people do, man? What should the listeners do to connect with you and to get involved with what you have going on?
Well, right at the beginning of the corona of this COVID-19, I pivoted quickly. I understood that if things were going to turn digital real quick, so I created a new online digital course. It's called the Mindset Takeover Mastery. People can check that out by going to mindsettakeover.com. It's a 10-week course, 10 hours worth of video of me and you. It's pre-recorded, but you get 10 hours of me dropping fire, dropping nuggets. It comes with a digital workbook, and it comes with the ebook of my best-selling book, Don't Let Your Struggle Become Your Standard. So that's one thing that I have right now that's out, that's fire. People are jumping on it. And my wife and I just finished writing a book together. That's going to be coming out. We're working on that right now extensively. We're editing it, getting all that done. We're going to be doing a photo shoot soon for the cover of that. That's going to be launching Q1 of 2021 next year. So we're working on that. Again, I just had the book translated to Spanish. That just dropped today, September 1st. I don't know when this is going to be aired, but September 1st, today it just dropped, and it's already going crazy on Amazon. So, and that's just the Kindle version. Obviously, I'm going to drop the physical copy in a couple of days also. And yeah, I have a book writing masterclass for those of you that are listening that want to write a book and you're trying to get your story out there. I literally have a class that'll take you from A to Z on how to write your book in 90 days or less. If you commit to the formula that I have in the process, you can have a book in 90 days or less, published and everything ready to go. So that's available as well. You can check that out on my website, which is joseinspires.com. And if you want to follow me on social media, every platform is at Jose Inspires. Pretty easy, pretty uniformed. I make it easy for everybody. But yeah, man, if you're looking for a coach, you're looking for a mentor, you're looking for some motivation, definitely follow me on social media. First of all, that's where I give all the free stuff out. Good stuff too. But if you want that deeper level coaching, you want to become a public speaker, you want to become a coach, a trainer, anything in that type of realm or scope, definitely reach out to me. I do one-on-one coaching. And if you're listening and you own an organization, listen, if you own an organization, like I said, I come from corporate America. I know the language. I know a lot of the processes and procedures. If you own a company and your company's not doing as well as you would like it to, or you're doing great, but you want to just go up another notch, definitely reach out to me because I have a special way, my charisma, my personality that I bring with me into a workplace. It literally fires everybody up and lifts up the whole company as a whole. And it's not just like, hey, he came and motivated us. It's like, man, months later, you're like, man, remember that dude? Remember what he said, man? I got to keep working, man. I'm not going to let the guy in the wheelchair beat me. So it's like that lasting, actionable, tangible thing that I leave behind for you and your employees. So that you can do that as well. Also, man, Alex, I want to do something special for you and your audience. I know that a lot of people are struggling through through this COVID-19. Like you said, people lost jobs, companies are closing. So I want to give every single listener or viewer a free gift. So if you go to freegift.joseinspires.com. Again, that's freegift.joseinspires.com. Uh, Not only are you going to get a free gift, but you're going to get access to my private Facebook group that's constantly growing. It's called I Won't Stop Until I Win. That's the name of the group. You'll get access to the group, and the free gift is in the group. So when you sign up for that, just answer the little 3 questions there. Send me your email so we can stay connected, and you'll get in and you'll get access to the free gift. So it's freegift.joseinspires.com, and that's my gift from me to you to help you push through this coronavirus and get to the next level.
My man. My man showing them sales skills, bro. I love it. I love it. That's my language, bro. And it's awesome, man. A lot of value there. I'll definitely be getting my free gift. You already know. I'm gonna stop by the website, man. Check out the book and all that good stuff. Jose, man, you got the listeners tuned in, and they listen to your whole story. They're vibing with you, man. They're inspired. What's your final message, man, for the Started Somewhere community, man?
Listen, if you're listening and you're watching and you're trying to figure things out, things don't seem to be working your way, or maybe you're just frustrated, you're overwhelmed, or maybe you're not. Maybe you're doing great and things are looking on the up and up for you. I just want to leave you with this one slogan that I always tell everybody, and I always do it at the end of every presentation, man. And I just want you to understand. And if you're watching and you're listening, just say this with me, man. Just say, I won't give up.
I won't give up.
I won't give in.
I won't give in.
And I won't stop until I win.
And I won't stop until I win.
Come on, baby. There you go.
I
won't
love
give
it,
up.
brother.
I won't give in, and I won't stop until I win. So no matter where you are on the ladder, whether you're struggling and you're climbing or you're high up and you're doing well, I want you to know that the wins in life, you never arrive and you win the final championship, right? The final championship for us as humans is when we take our last breath and we know that we can die in peace because we did everything we can. That's the final championship. But even here on earth, you watch baseball, soccer, football, basketball, they win a championship. Next year, they got to do it all over again, right? And it's that excitement of winning over and over again. And that's how it should be in life, man. We should be able to win over and over and over again. And the reality is that sometimes we're going to win some and sometimes we're going to lose some, right? The same team doesn't win every single year, except for the Yankees most of the time, which is my team. You know, I had to throw that in there being from the Bronx. But they're not doing too good the last couple of years. But, hey, you win some, you lose some, man. But the thing is that the Yankees will always go down in history, man. They've been one of the teams that won the most World Series. And that's just about life, right? You want to be that guy that's been known that you won so many times in life. And you're excited about it because that doesn't show cockiness or that you've always been a winner, but it shows that you put in the work, you put in the grind, you practice, and you lost several times along the way, but you've developed yourself to be able to get those wins more consistently as you go on. So I appreciate you guys, man. I love you. Thank you, brother, for having me on the show.
My man.
I wish you nothing but more success and blessings, healing and health, bro. And keep rocking and rolling, man. You're doing a great thing. You got a great show, brother.
Thank you so much, my man. And your energy, brother, it's infectious. Thank you so much for being here. Enjoy the week, man. And we'll talk soon.